Good day, everyone. Today we will discuss The Restored Philippine Congress by Olivia C. Kawili, together with my partner, Mayan Watton. So the learning objectives of this topic is, at the end of this chapter, the student should be able to, first, to describe the membership and structure of the Restored Philippine Congress under the 1987 Constitution. Second is to discuss the organization of the current Congress of the Philippines. The third is to state the powers and functions of the current Congress. The fourth is to describe the socio-economic profile of the members of the restored Congress. And the fifth is to explain the contest for leadership among the various political parties in the current Congress. And the sixth is to discuss the dynamics of lawmaking and the legislative executive relations, the legislative process. And the last is the list the important statutes legislated in the current Congress. So, in the introduction, in February 1986, dramatic events, including snap elections and the EDSA People Power Revolution, led to the overthrow of Marcos, bringing President Corazon Aquino to power. She enacted the Freedom Constitution, a provisional governance framework excluding provisions on the legislature and executive. So, President Aquino, wielding both legislative and executive powers, appointed a constitutional commission which opted for a presidential system and bicameral Congress. The 1987 Constitution was ratified, restoring the presidential system, Congress, and principles of separation of powers and checks and balances. So, the structure and membership of Congress. First is the Senate. The current bicameral Congress comprises the Senate and the House of Representatives. The 1987 Constitution established a Senate with 24 members elected, a large for 6-year terms, with a limit of 2 consecutive terms. Voluntary renunciation doesn't interrupt continuity of service. First Senate elections in 1987 had all members serving full terms. The 1992 elections implemented a system where 12 senators serve 6 years, and the next 12 serve 3 years. Subsequent senators all serve 6 years terms. So the qualifications of members of Congress is that the qualifications for Senate, natural born citizen, 35 years old, 2 years residency, registered voter, House of Representatives, natural born citizen, 25 years old, able to read and write, registered voter in a district, 1 year residency. So in the year 1987, Senate elections, 24 senators were elected, but 1 seat remained vacant due to an appointment to the cabinet. Of the 200 House of Representatives elected, 190 remained by 1991. 13 sectoral representatives were appointed in 1987, and the party list system was established in 1995. So the privileges and the prohibitions on members of Congress is that the Congress members receive compensation fixed by law, and any increase applies after the next election. Senators with the most votes serve 6 years, while the next 12 serve 3 years, followed by all elected senators serving 6-year terms thereafter. So let's go to the House of Representatives. So the 1987 Constitution limits the House of Representatives to a maximum of 250 members. Of these, 200 are elected from legislative districts based on population, ensuring contiguity and compactness. Each province has at least one representative, and cities with a population over 250,000 have one representative. Reapport- reapportion- Reapportionment based on census data is allowed every 3 years. So the party list system. The 1987 Constitution introduced the party list system, allocating 20% of the House of Representatives, 250 seats, to registered national, regional, and sectoral parties. For 3 terms post-ratification, half of these seats are designated for sectors like labor, peasant, urban, poor, and others, appointed initially by the President. In 1995, Republic Act 7941 established the election of party list representatives, with the first elected in 1998. So the terms of office of representatives. House of Representatives members serve 3 year terms with the possibility of re-election. However, the Constitution limits consecutive terms to 3, and voluntary renunciation doesn't interrupt the continuity of service for the full elected term. So the qualifications of members of Congress is to qualify for the Senate of House of the Representatives in the Philippines. One must be a natural-born citizen, at least 35 years old, a resident for 2 years, and a registered voter. Senators and representatives are immune from arrest during sessions for offenses with up to 6 years of imprisonment. They are restricted from holding certain offices, must disclose financial interest, and cannot personally benefit from government contracts during their term. These rules aim to ensure public service over personal gain and prevent conflicts of interest. So, the organization of Congress. The 1987 Constitution outlines Congress organization with separate officers for each chamber, for each chamber. A bicameral commission on appointments, electoral tribunals, and various standing in ad hoc committees.
Good day, everyone. I am the next reporter, and let's tackle about the powers and functions of Congress. In the 1987 Constitution retained, and in some cases, strengthened Congress powers from the 1935 Constitution, notably regarding the President's role as Commander-in-Chief. So let's proceed to the legislative power. The 1987 Constitution grants legislative power to Congress but imposes limits, and the Bill of Rights specifically prohibits laws containing freedom of speech, expression, and the press, as well as the right to assemble and petition. The next one is executive power. The Congress, beyond lawmaking, holds power to check the President and the presidential system. This includes confirming appointments for head of executive departments, ambassador, and military officers, ensuring a system of checks and balances. The next one is a judicial power. The Congress can judge election disputes and member qualifications through House and Senate electoral tribunals. Each house can also punish members for disorderly behavior and with a two-thirds majority, suspend or expel a member with a maximum suspension of 60 days. And let's proceed to the power of impeachment. Congress can impeach and remove the President, Vice President, Supreme Court Justice, Constitutional Commission members, and the Ombudsman for constitutional violations, treason, bribery, corruption, high crimes, or betrayal of public trust. And the next one is democratic powers. The President negotiates treaties, but they require two-thirds Senate concurrence to be valid and effective as per the 1987 Constitution, Article 7, Section 21. A constituent power. Congress can initiate constitutional amendments by a 3/4 vote, and the proposed changes must be ratified by a majority in a plebiscite held 60 to 90 days after approval. The next one is a socio-economic profile of the members of Congress. In the 1987 8th Congress, traditional elites and higher income individuals, particularly from landed oligarchic families, were overrepresented among senators. Let's proceed to the political parties and contest for leadership in Congress. In 1987, with the restoration of Congress, multiple political parties participated in national elections. Of the 23 elected senators, 21 were endorsed by President Aquino, forming a coalesced majority, despite belonging to different parties. And let's proceed to the dynamics of lawmaking. Congress, beyond enacting laws, also passes resolutions. These include simple resolutions approved by one house and concurrent or joint resolutions requiring both chambers' approval. The next one is a legislative-executive relations and the enactment of laws. Successful legislation in the Philippines requires close collaboration between the President and Congress. Despite the separation of powers, the President can initiate crucial legislation, submitting a budget annually. The President has the power to approve or veto bills. The next one is the record of achievement of Congress. From July 25, 1987 to June 30, 1992, senators introduced 1,960 bills with 127 approved and 10 vote. The House filed 35,420 bills by June 10, 1991, with 1974 enacted or lapses into law. Of these, 54 were administration certified, 36 were voted, and 34 awaited the President's actions. And lastly, the summary and conclusion. The restored Congress in the Philippines faced persistent issues resembling those of its predecessors, hindering genuine democratic progress. Socio-economic and political elites dominated both chambers, creating a disconnect between representative and the majority. Despite democratic restoration, socio-economic inequalities persisted, resulting in what some term elite democracy. Legislative efforts to address issues were slow and closely prompting calls for a shift to a parliamentary system to improve government efficiency.